Hello, good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, and whatever your life circumstance, you are welcome here.
Good morning.
No way.
Okay. Good morning. Our service name is The New Normal. And so I have a poem to share by a poet named Bruce Levine that he wrote in May of 2020. The new normal, a fork in the road, patterns dismembered, disemboweled entities, parades of non sequiturs masquerading as normal without understanding why, where, or how. A broken hourglass, sand spilled on a table, driftwood on a beach, formless yet beautiful as it awaits redemption. In a time conundrum, a flame in a vacuum, extinguished without air, eviscerated memories in quicksand, forgotten. The new normal tightening its grip, with tears flowing softly on landscapes plowed under, a road yet created, a normal unknown.
We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. Oh no. Here we go. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope.
Our opening hymn is number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, words by Rumi and music by Lynn Adair Unger, performed by the Dicus Webster Dicus Trio. Please join us in song.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair.
Your reception.
kingdom come.
Good morning. In thinking about our new normal, I'd like to talk to you about my dissertation. I promise that it's relevant. Even though my degree is in clinical psychology, my dissertation research was decidedly physiological, neurological, in fact. It had to do with habituation. Basically, habituation occurs when a repeated exposure to a stimulus leads to a diminishing response to that stimulus. It is considered the simplest form of learning. My study involved both shocking, literally, people and scaring them with a sudden noise. That's right, I got an institutional review board to approve me shocking and scaring human for the sake of advancing science. I'll give you the short version. I measured the eye blink reflex, which is controlled by the trigeminal nerve that runs through the supraorbital notch above our eye. You can actually feel that notch by gently placing your thumb just inside the upper rim of your eye socket. The shock was delivered directly to the nerve, and the sudden sound came through a set of headphones. When first receiving either of these stimuli, the eyes automatically blink. But being repeatedly exposed to an electric shock and or a sudden noise resulted in eventually not having any startle response at all. Happened rather quickly, too. It actually happened faster if I both shocked and scared them. This is a function of adaptation, and we are highly adaptable. But as a result of this, if we're exposed to anything too long, too often, we lose feeling toward it, and our response to it diminishes. We become numb. That was 17-year-old filmmaker Liv McNeil. Music was by the band M83. What Ms. McNeil so effectively portrays is the numbing effect of day after day of isolation and schooling disconnected from the classroom and classmates and friends. As the pandemic wears on, we habituate. We become numb to the isolation, to the monotony. Then we're overwhelmed with feeling, and then back to numb again. And we still don't have a sense of when this abnormal situation will resolve. We keep wishing that things would go back to the way that they were. Our brains don't deal well with ambiguity. It doesn't do well with uncertainty, and it certainly struggles with things being unresolved. Our brains are designed to find the patterns, to close the circle, to check the boxes. There's a very, very strong need to categorize, to put things in order, to understand. And when a situation or event occurs that is outside the boundary of normal human existence, even our highly elastic, adaptable minds are not able to stretch far enough to understand it. Like a rubber band that has been stretched to its limit. But because of the way we are wired, our brains don't give up trying to close the loop. This is one of the primary elements of post-traumatic stress. We have all lost something, possibly much somethings, as a result of the pandemic. But because of the uncertain and unclear nature of so much of what has happened and what will happen, we're not even sure yet what all we have lost. Dr. Pauline Boss, professor emeritus of the University of Minnesota, coined the term ambiguous loss, and I believe that that applies here. We're not sure what we've lost, and as such, we're not sure what to grieve or how to move forward. The extent of our loss remains to be determined. The ability to move forward in the face of ambiguity relates to our resilience. Resilience can be a trait, as some people come by it naturally, but is also a skill that people can learn. Resilience is not toughness in that one never gets knocked down or ever feels the impact of the assault. It is not stoicism, being unfeeling or never showing any reaction or weakness. Resilience is being able to bounce back from an adverse event. It is being able to recover and move on. Essentially, it's getting back up the same number of times you get knocked down. How do we practice and develop resilience? There are a number of factors that contribute to resilience, including maintaining a positive mindset, finding gratitude, engaging in self-care activities for mind, body, and spirit, and having a sense of purpose, as well as hope for the future. But the research shows that there is one factor that promotes resilience more than the others: connectedness. It is our connection with others. And that brings us to the catch-22 we find ourselves in with this pandemic. The truly diabolical characteristic of this threat we are globally faced with is that in order to survive it and overcome it is through staying away from others, isolating, from being disconnected in the ways we are used to feeling close to others. Hugs, kisses, even handshakes are verboten now. Gatherings and celebrations with groups of people, including our beloved congregating at church on Sundays and other times, have been put on hold. The very nature of what we need to do to survive challenges our ability to survive, to be resilient. How do we resolve this conundrum? Do we minimize the dangers and the possibility of infection and prioritize being with others? Or do we sacrifice some of that connectedness and belonging and stay physically safe? It is easy to see how folks struggle with it and land on either side, with most trying to find an acceptable balance. We have found other ways to be connected. Having the technology available to us that we do has made connecting with others possible in a way that those in 1918 did not. So many of my friends have taken up gardening. It occurs to me that the act of getting one's hands in the earth creates a sense of connection with all of creation. And even our inevitably unproductive arguments with others on Facebook can be seen as an expression of a need to connect with someone, even in a negative way. Feeling uncomfortably distant or disconnected from a loved one, pick a fight. Voila, reconnection. While we wrestle with what we have lost, it can be helpful to also attend to what we have gained. What unexpected gifts have come our way? What change in your life became possible that likely never would have had life continued apace? For me, the pandemic has allowed our whole family to be together more than we had expected. We sit down to the dinner table together much more often than we used to. I've also been able to reconnect with a group of friends from high school and college that had been geographically constrained to the Triangle area of North Carolina. Now Thursday night dinner has become a nationwide shared experience. How do we deal with the ongoing uncertainty and ambiguity? What if part of our new normal, our new resilience, involves embracing ambiguity and uncertainty? What if it means appreciating that we have very little control over our lives, of leaning into that? Can we then gain a sense of calm and peace in that lack of control? Our well-being may well depend on it. The world is not adapting to us. We cannot manage an abnormal situation with our normal coping strategies. It is up to us to adapt again.
Every Sunday, when we are together in church, we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work in our community, our Change for Change partners. This month, our Change for Change partner is Black Lives Matter of Oklahoma City. Please enjoy the First Unitarian Choir as it performs Beverly McCleary's anthem, "We Are All Connected," words from Neil deGrasse Tyson. This will give you all some time to make your donation to our special Change for Change. You may wish to make your donation using a credit card through our website, or this could be a good time to find your checkbook, write out a check, and put it aside to mail to First Unitarian tomorrow morning. Let today's offering reflect our highest aspirations for the work of this church in the world.
Slip down.
Behave Next.
Church choir, open positions. Hymns online.
I have a few.
Organs for sale near me.
eBay is 2 doors down.
Gmail new account.
Oh, well, welcome to the family. Fill this out here.
Netflix free trial.
Oh. Happy viewing. You. Oh, Unitarian Universalism. It's a liberal religion characterized by the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Oh, no, I meant you too. Oh. Yes, you too, a seminal.
Well, that is just weird.
No.
DIY at-home haircut.
Oh, yeah. Now that the salons are closed, a lot of people are learning how to do styles at home.
For cats.
What?
DIY hairless cat.
Are you okay?
We light this candle in honor of all those working on the front lines in hospitals, nursing homes, grocery stores, and gas stations. We light this candle to send our love to those dying in isolation, especially those who we know and those who are loved by those we know. We light this candle to send our love to all those grieving deaths of all causes. We light this candle in recognition of the enormity of this pandemic's impact on each of us, on those we love, on everyone, especially those already challenged by poverty, racism, transphobia, ableism, xenophobia, and more. We light this candle. We light this candle in grief, in honor, in recognition, and most of all, in love.
I'm just sharing. Okay. Please join us for Holly Near's song number 170 in the Gray Hymnal. We are a gentle, angry people. Original title, Singing for Our Lives, and published by Hereford Music, as performed by the Webster Dicus Trio. Note that we'll sing verses 1, 2, 4, and 6 today. They can't hear me.
See, he's nodding.
Yeah, okay.
are gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people.
I can't hear.
We are singing, singing for our lives.
This is what happened the last time, is that somebody did not mute themselves. They unmuted themselves.
We are
Just
singing,
muted everybody,
singing for
including
our
us.
So send Chris a message.
lives. We are a gentle, loving.
Send Chris a message.
We are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing.
My family is quite attached to Winnie the Pooh, and of course, there is an episode that relates to the pandemic. It's chapter 9 of Winnie the Pooh, in which Piglet is entirely surrounded by water. It is raining right from the outset of this episode, torrentially, and quickly developing into a flood emergency. Dear Piglet is stuck inside his house, staring out at the rain and feeling lonely. The waters are rising and things are getting rather exciting. It's a little anxious, he said to himself, to be a very small animal entirely surrounded by water. Christopher Robin and Pooh could escape by climbing trees, and Kanga could escape by jumping, and Rabbit could escape by burrowing, and Owl could escape by flying, and Eeyore could escape by making a loud noise until rescued. And here am I, surrounded by water, and I can't do anything. The water keeps rising, and Piglet considers what Christopher Robin would advise in such a situation, and he fortuitously remembers that Christopher Robin once told him a story about a stranded man who had put a message into a bottle and thrown it into the sea. Perhaps if Piglet could do the same. He locates a piece of paper, a pencil, and a bottle with a cork in it, and he writes, "Help, Piglet, me," on one side of the paper, and "It's me, Piglet, help, help," on the other. He then puts the paper into the bottle, stops it up with a cork, and throws it into the water. As it floats away, he knows for certain he will never see it again. But because he can't swim, that's about all he can do. And he misses his best friend, Pooh. Meanwhile, Pooh has been sleeping through the storm. After having found the North Pole, he dreams of finding the East Pole, which turns out to be a very cold place with lots of ice and snow. He finds a beehive to curl up in, but it's only big enough for his upper body, so he leaves his legs outside. Then the wild woozles arrive and begin to eat his fur, which makes him cold. They get so cold until he wakes up and his feet are in water, and there's water all inside his house. Pooh realizes that with water rising, he will need an escape plan. So he decides to sit on a tree branch and to bring his honey pots with him. 4 days later, he is still sitting there, but he has eaten all of his honey. And then Piglet's message in a bottle floats towards Pooh. Thinking it must be another honey pot, Pooh jumps into the water to get a hold of it rather than letting it drift away. Pooh doesn't have quite enough brain to read the whole message, but he sees the letter P, which of course means Pooh. In order to decipher the message, he will need Christopher Robin or Owl. But as he cannot swim, he is not sure how he will reach these friends. Then Pooh has an idea. He grabs his biggest honey jar, seals it up, calls his new boat the Floating Bear, and sets sail. For a little while, Pooh and the Floating Bear were uncertain as to which of them was meant to be on the top. But after trying one or two different positions, they settled down with the Floating Bear underneath and Pooh triumphantly astride it, paddling vigorously with his feet. On the 5th day of rain, Owl flies over to visit Christopher Robin, who is concerned about Pooh. He asks Owl to set off and check on Pooh. Fortunately, Pooh reaches Christopher Robin's house right at this moment and gets a big hug from Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin asks Pooh how he managed to survive, and Pooh explains about his boat and the important message. Christopher Robin reads the message and says that it's from Piglet. Alas, the P's are for piglets rather than Poohs. Christopher Robin suggests that Owl could carry Pooh on his back to rescue Piglet, but Owl is not sure. So Christopher Robin then offers that Owl should instead just go and tell Piglet that help is on its way and that he and Pooh will think of a plan to rescue Piglet. I ought to say, explained Pooh as they walked down to the shore of the island, that it isn't just an ordinary sort of boat. Sometimes it's a boat, and sometimes it's more of an accident. It all depends. Depends on what? Said Christopher Robin. On whether I'm on top of it or underneath it. The Floating Bear is too small for 2 or even 3 of them, so Pooh offers that they could go in Christopher Robin's umbrella. Well, Christopher Robin opens his umbrella and puts it, upside down, into the water. It is a bit wobbly when left by itself in the water, but it definitely floats. Pooh got in. He was just beginning to say that it was all right now when he found that it wasn't, so after a short drink, which he didn't really want, he waded back to Christopher Robin. But when Christopher Robin and Pooh both get in the same time, the umbrella stays perfectly upright. Christopher Robin names the new boat the Brain of Pooh, and they set sail to Piglet's house while doing a bit of revolving in between. Piglet is, of course, very much relieved and thrilled to see the approach of the Brain of Pooh, and so Piglet is saved by his very best friends and their great ideas. Okay, restart.
You know, philosopher John Locke has.
Okay, Google. Why are you you?
What an interesting question. You know, philosopher John Locke has in his theory of personality.
No. Why are you you?
Oh, sure. There's a Zoom meeting on Mondays at 7 o'clock.
Musical theater karaoke.
Oh, yeah. Singing is a wonderful way to pass the time and improve your voice.
Earplugs.
Earplugs.
Noise canceling earplugs. Bad.
Gmail new account.
Welcome to the family.
Netflix free trial.
Happy viewing.
Driver's ed course.
Sorry, bud. A lot of the agencies are closed right now.
Online driver's ed course.
Well, yeah, but do you have 30 hours to spare?
Mario Kart free download.
No. I'm sorry, what?
Why have to wear face masks?
Well, I know they're uncomfortable, but we're just trying to stop the spread, and by wearing a mask, you're protecting yourself and others.
DIY cat hair face mask.
Let's try mental health counseling in your local area.
Gmail new account.
know it's you. I can't stop you. Let me guess. Netflix free trial.
I am someone who is used to doing many things and moving from one to the next at a rapid rate. This quality has served me well in my work life and has also helped me juggle my family and personal life with my paid work. Having said that, this time of COVID has simultaneously insisted on both a return to normal activities and the need to be vigilant as I protect myself, my family, and those for whom I have professional responsibility. Sustaining these conflicting demands has pushed me to my max. I am stretched and stressed in ways that are not healthy or good, and that have preoccupied me, disrupted my sleep, and made me anxious. And then I realize if I am at my max, as someone who is normally high functioning and in good health overall, it has to be the case that many, many people in my life have reached that point way before I did. We are collectively worn slick. We are not all talking about it. I am grateful to the Reverend Kathy Edwards, lately of Hope Unitarian in Tulsa, and who was our intern minister at First Unitarian for 2 years. She's been posting daily questions on Facebook, and she's helped many of us to reflect on matters large and small, the good and the bad, and what we've learned during all of this. In the early weeks of the lockdown, I had to let go of activities and events for which I personally and we as a family had been preparing. We grieved favorite events like functions we have offered annually as part of the First Unitarian auction, as well as a much anticipated trip to New York City, during which our son Thayer, who you've seen, and his school orchestra were to play at Carnegie Hall. Since Meredith, our daughter, attends college in Manhattan, we were looking forward to a family reunion and had invited friends from all over the tri-state area to join us for the concert and a party afterwards. Needless to say, none of that happened. There were some benefits to the forced isolation, however. Meredith returned to us from New York City in mid-March, and since then, as Bill mentioned, it has been very good to be together as a family. We figured out how to go to work and to school from home. We have enjoyed the shared meals that Bill mentioned more than ever before, and over the summer came up with ideas about this very service. We laughed until we cried making those Google was a guy videos. And while I was working from home full time, I created a routine that I actually came to enjoy. Without a commute or a need to leave the house, I used some of that saved time to reframe my diet and exercise patterns. In fact, the COVID-19, as some have come to call it, happened in reverse for me. I have been able to return to a healthier weight and eating plan than I have known for several years. Now that I'm back to an in-office routine with a commute to Edmond every day, I strive to maintain the gains and the losses that I came to enjoy during the time of isolation. Still, certain activities that bring me joy and satisfaction remain out of reach. How I miss the First Unitarian Choir. It seems most unfair that we were not able to lift our voices in song collectively to celebrate and thank Beverly McClary, our recently retired music director and composer in residence, or Diane Broyles, our beloved organist and accompanist, with an extra special music Sunday service and the usual potluck and gab fest that follows our annual choir concerts. While I enjoy singing many of Beverly's anthems and shorter response pieces, the piece you heard during the offertory, We Are All Connected, may well be my all-time favorite of hers for its science nerd text inspired by the writings of Neil deGrasse Tyson and its overall composition. It's truly a lovely anthem. Similarly, some of you may know that I sing in an Irish women's trio. It's called Whiskey and Pie. We've been performing on the regular at venues all around the metro for a couple of years now. And we had just rekindled a relationship with a darling pub in Shawnee back in February, just before everything shut down. My bandmates have become two of my very best friends, and I miss them more than I can say, both for their camaraderie and for their amazing musicianship. I selected one of our recordings, The Parting Glass, as today's postludes. I hope you enjoy it. Friends and family members remain vulnerable, so we have had to be careful to stay at arm's length or even further. While it is heartbreaking that I cannot spend my time with my mother, who is a member of this congregation, I am reassured that she is safe and well in her memory care unit. I'm also worried about her well-being and the likelihood that her dementia has only deepened during this time. Miraculously, I was able to get her to and from the hospital for a brief stay while protecting her from the virus. And I even managed to send her flowers and to speak with her in short bursts. Closer to home, Bill was exposed to a work colleague who tested positive for the coronavirus, and I became panicked in a way that is not normal for me. What if Bill gets sick? What if I get sick? Or the kids? The few friends that we have spent time with recently? My work colleagues, a not unsizable group, especially now that we're all back in the office, even wearing masks. The what ifs began to swarm all around me. Fortunately, we are blessed with resources. Bill was able to arrange rapid testing for the two of us the following day. I would not wish that nasal swab on an enemy. The provider said that if she made you cry, she was doing it right. I was beyond relieved to note our negative results after that rapid test. Friends, I remain fearful of this virus and the likelihood that it will spread just as soon as we become tired of social distancing and mask wearing and hand washing. As much as I long for a full-on return to gatherings of all sizes, concerts, parties, and in-person celebrations, I remain equally resolved to stay away from such events for the foreseeable future. How long quarantine? We asked Google for answers, longer than any of us would like. But as Bill also said, my dear, dear friends, we are not alone. Our beloved congregation remains steadfast in its commitment to all of us. I am grateful for all of it, even as I yearn to hug you and gaze directly into your eyes and share in person the joys and sorrows of our lives. This, for me, is the new normal. May we all remember the love of our community, the Poos, the Piglets, the Christopher Robins, even the owls. May we only need to reach out, even virtually, to reconnect and refill our cup.
Please join us for our closing hymn, number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River, by Marvin Frey, as performed by the Webster Dicus Trio. We will sing verses 1 through 3 only.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got ocean in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of love and community which burns in our hearts.
Following the service, we will have Zoom coffee hour that will start about 5 or 10 minutes after we wrap up the service here. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere you may go.
Of all the money e'er I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I done for want of wit, to memory now I cannot recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be with you all. All the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away, and all the lovers that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night, and joy be with you all. Good night, and joy be with you all. Thanks for coming.